On this episode of the QC Step Podcast, we're going to cover a couple of topics. First off, we have a question from a student about moving from a part-time position to a full-time position. And this is a topic that you seniors might be interested in. You might be looking at moving from a part-time to full-time position now, later in the school year, or after graduation. And no matter when you would like to make that move, you can start laying the groundwork and working towards it now. And we'll cover how to do that and how to ask your boss about that move. We bring up networking regularly here on the podcast, and on this episode, I'm going to talk with you about why you should network and use your built-in network in your employment search. So on this episode, we have a topic for you if you're looking for a job, and we have a topic for you if you are working a job. This is episode number 97 of the QC Step Podcast. Welcome to the 97th episode of the QC Step Podcast. We're almost to episode number 100. And over these 97 episodes, we've covered a lot of employment topics. On our website, you can find episodes that cover all areas of employment and all the different stages of employment. If you're under 16, you can find episodes with topics for you. If you're looking for a job and filling out applications and you're preparing for interviews, there's a ton of episodes for you to go back and watch. And if you're working a job and you want to know how to handle specific situations on the job, there's episodes on those topics too. If you would like to look back through all of the topics that we've covered here on the podcast, you can go to qcstep.com/list, or you can click on this icon at qcstep.com. Some of you in our district will be attending the Day of Transition 2015. That's on November 10th. And next week, I will give you more details on this one-day conference that we do for STEP students. On episode number 98, I will go through the sessions and tell you about the people that will be presenting information to us. We have a student question this week, and it comes in from Mercer County High School. This student asks, I'd like to go from part-time to full-time. How do I ask my boss about this? So let's talk about going from part-time to full-time a little. First off, if you're not a senior, but if you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, and you're working, my suggestion is that you shouldn't even consider a move like this. In fact, if you're a senior, I think you should really think hard about that decision. Working full-time is very demanding. If your credits or your grades are a concern with your ability to graduate on time, you may not want to consider trying to work full-time while you're in school. In fact, I'd say that you probably shouldn't. So let's start at the beginning. Full-time means that you work at least 40 hours per week. Those are 40 hours that you won't be putting towards your schoolwork, and it's a big time commitment. It's also 40 hours taken out of your social life. Maybe that's a big deal for you, and maybe it's not. I'm not here to convince you to not work full-time while you're in school, but I think that it's important to understand what it really means for you, for your schooling, for your family life, and for your social life. By the way, when I say you, I'm not singling out the student that sent in this question. I think there's probably a handful of you in this situation. You might be considering a move from part-time to full-time. A goal with our program, our main goal, is to assist you in being successful in your transition from high school to post-high school life, specifically in employment, in work. And for a lot of you, that means turning a part-time position into a full-time position. So, how do you ask your boss? There's a few things I think you should do before you ask your boss about this. Before you consider a move like this or ask your boss about this, it's important that you have demonstrated to them that you're the type of worker that they should give more hours. Full-time employees typically receive benefits like paid time off, vacations, and health insurance. Those are usually not benefits that part-time employees get. So, if you want a business to spend more money on you through those benefits, you need to demonstrate to them that you're worth spending money on. You can demonstrate that you're worth it by being at work every day, being on time every day. You can demonstrate it by doing a good job and fulfilling all of your job responsibilities. And you can demonstrate it by going above and beyond what your responsibilities are. That might mean coming in and working extra hours. It might mean filling in shifts for people that are sick. You can go above and beyond by helping with things that don't fall into your job responsibilities. It means if your supervisor asks you to do something extra, that you say sure. It also means that you take the initiative to do the things that need to be done. If you see something that needs to be done, don't wait for your supervisor to tell you to do it. Businesses want their most reliable and their most hardworking employees to fill the most valuable positions. And if you want a full-time position, you need to demonstrate and show them that you're worthy of one of those positions. So let's get back to the question, which was, how do you ask your boss to go from part-time to full-time? This is a conversation that you don't want to have in passing at work. You want a few minutes to sit down with your boss. So the first thing to do is to talk with them and ask them if they have any time in their schedule for about a 5-minute conversation. Scheduling this conversation does a few things. It increases your chances of having their undivided attention, and it also shows them that this is something that you're really serious about. In this meeting that you have with them, you'll want to tell them that you appreciate the opportunities that they've given you. Tell them how working that job has helped you become a better and more knowledgeable worker. I think it's important to communicate to them that you're appreciative of the opportunities that they've given you. Then you can tell them that you're interested in moving from a part-time role to a full-time role. Tell them why you think they should consider this. Tell them what you've done to deserve it. So let's go back to those things that you should have done ahead of time to show them that you are deserving. If you have great attendance and you're punctual, tell them how reliable and consistent you are. If you've received any recognition from your work, maybe Employee of the Month or some other form of recognition, remind them of those things. This is your opportunity to sell yourself. It's important to sell yourself and share your positives and not put anyone else down. Keep this entire thing positive. If you think that you're a better worker than someone that is full-time, don't mention that. You don't want to bring any negativity in. You want to be positive and sell yourself, sell your strengths, and leave it there. In a lot of ways, this is like selling yourself in a job interview. Identify your strengths ahead of time, share them in this conversation, and point to specific examples. If customer service is one of your strengths, and hopefully it is, then give them examples of situations where those strong customer service skills came into play and how you handled those situations. Selling yourself and bragging about yourself, it's not something that's easy to do, especially for teenagers. But you need to make your case, and you need to do it in a very positive way. You should also practice this conversation. Identify the points that you want to discuss and keep it simple. And here's an outline that you can use. Here is how working here has benefited me and why I appreciate the opportunities. I'd like a full-time position, and these are the things that I'm good at. This is how I've helped your business and why you should consider me. Okay, so let's hope that after you inform them that you would like a full-time position, they immediately offer you the position. Let's hope for that. But if they don't, here's what you can do to handle the situation. It's possible they just don't have any available full-time positions right now. If that's the case, then let them know that you would appreciate it if they would inform you when there is a position available. My suggestion is to do that no matter what the reason. If they don't offer you a full-time position, no matter what the reason is, tell them that you would like to be informed when a position is available. You should ask them if there's anything that you can do to improve or help your chances of getting the position. This shows them that you're not angry, but instead you're determined to be the best employee that you can be. It tells them that you're serious about wanting that position and that you're not discouraged, but rather you're using this as motivation. So thanks to the Mercer County High School student that sent in that question. If you have an employment question that you would like answered, you can submit those at qcstep.com. Click on this icon and fill out this form, submit it, and then we will work it into an upcoming episode. We've talked several times on the podcast about networking to get jobs. I've mentioned a few weeks ago that I've been in some of your classes to talk about how you can use social networking like Facebook and Twitter to get jobs. In that presentation, we also talk about using your traditional network, your friends, family, teachers, neighbors, and so on. Your network is made up of the people around you, and using your network in your job search means that you use the people around you. You use the information from them and their connections to find a job. So here's why you should be using your network to find a job. I recently read a poll that was made up of employers and hiring managers, and it said that they prefer to hire the friends and relatives of their employees, and that friends and relatives are the highest rated source of new hires. That means if you have friends that are working jobs, and those friends are good workers and valuable employees for their businesses, and those friends are willing to vouch for you, and you can use them as a reference, you're more likely to get hired than if you were to apply at a business where you don't know anyone that works there. Using your network is very important, and the best place to start is to talk with your friends, your family members, and the other people in your network. Find out if their employer is hiring and talk with them about recommending you to their employer. That does it for this episode. You can like QC Step on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Go to qcstep.com/Facebook, and we're at QC Step on Instagram and Twitter. We share job leads and links to employment-related content. Last week, I shared a link to a resource that you might want to look at and print off if you're considering going to college or post-secondary training after graduation. Thank you for watching and listening to this episode, and we'll be back next week to talk about the day of transition on episode number 98 of the QC Step podcast.